It was the perfect night for a campfire. The kind of night that made the woods feel alive and brimming with possibility. The air was crisp, the sky a blanket of stars, and the crackle of the fire mixed with the sound of laughter as 6 teenagers huddled around it. Kirsty, Stephan, Caitlin, Brad, Brent, and Michael had brought plenty of snacks, a portable speaker for music, and enough drinks to make the forest feel a little less intimidating. But as the clock struck midnight, the conversation turned to old legends. Stephan, the self-proclaimed storyteller of the group, leaned closer to the fire, letting the orange glow illuminate his face in just the right way. "So, have you guys heard about old Farmer Jenkins?" he asked, his voice dripping with mock suspense. The others chuckled nervously, except for Stephan, who cocked his brow. "You mean the guy who—" Brad started, but Stephan cut him off by waving at him. "Hold on. Let me tell it," he said. 20 years ago tonight, there was this guy named Jenkins who owned a slaughterhouse out by the old highway road. He was well known in the area, sold meat to pretty much everyone in the neighboring towns. But then people started disappearing. Travelers, drifters, even locals, no one connected the dots until one of his victims escaped and told the sheriff what was really going on. "Oh, come on," Brent groaned, taking a swig of his drink. "This sounds like every campfire story ever told." "Shut up, Brent," Michael hissed, pulling her blanket tighter around her shoulders. "Let him finish." Stephan grinned wickedly and continued. "Turns out, Jenkins wasn't just slaughtering pigs and cows. He was processing people. Selling their flesh to the townsfolk, who had no idea they were eating their missing neighbors. When the truth came out, the whole town went after him. They dragged him out of his house, beat him half to death, and then burned him alive inside his slaughterhouse. The place has been abandoned ever since. Some say his ghost still wanders these woods, looking for anyone foolish enough to come near his land." The group fell silent, the weight of the story settling over them like a cold blanket. Suddenly, a branch snapped somewhere in the darkness beyond the firelight. "What was that?" Caitlin whispered, her voice trembling. "Probably a raccoon or something," Brad said, though he didn't sound convinced. Then came another noise, a low, guttural growl, followed by the sound of something heavy moving through the underbrush. Kirsty grabbed Stephan's arm, her nails digging into his skin. "Okay, who's messing with us?" Brad demanded, standing up and scanning the tree line. No one answered. When the noises didn't stop, the group decided to pack up and leave. But as they were gathering their things, they realized Brent was missing. His flashlight lay abandoned on the ground, its beam pointing uselessly at the dirt. "Brent!" Michael called out, her voice shaky. "This isn't funny." "We need to find him," Stephan said firmly. "Let's split up and search the woods. We'll meet back here in 20 minutes. Reluctantly, the group agreed, each heading in a different direction. But 20 minutes stretched into 30, then 40, and one by one, they stopped responding to Kirsty and Stephan's calls. By the time the two of them met back at the campfire, they were alone. "We need to go," Kirsty whispered, her face pale. "Not without the others," Stephan insisted. "What if they're hurt?" With no other choice, they ventured deeper into the woods, following a faint trail of footprints and broken branches. Eventually, they stumbled upon a massive, run-down building hidden among the trees. Its wooden walls were blackened with age, and the faint smell of burnt wood lingered in the air. "Do you think this is—" Kirsty started, but Stephan cut her off. "It has to be. Come on." The door creaked loudly as they pushed it open, revealing a horrific scene inside. The bodies of their friends hung from meat hooks, their limbs crudely hacked apart. Blood dripped from the rafters, pooling on the floor in sickening puddles. Kirsty screamed, her voice echoing through the cavernous space. Stephan turned to run, but they both froze as a shadow moved in the doorway behind them. A figure stepped into the light, tall and hulking, wearing a burlap sack mask over a face that was charred and disfigured. His clothes were tattered, soaked with blood, and in his hand, he held a pitchfork. The legend of Farmer Jenkins wasn't just a story. It was real. To be continued.